Hello, welcome to SwitchedOn Gaming. Paul speaking. Welcome to a look at a new game that's come out on the Nintendo Switch recently. This is Astroneer. This came out on the 13th of January from System Era Softworks. Going to set you back a rather odd price in the UK, £23.74, and in the United States, $29.99. I'm going to make a couple of short videos on this just to show you the early game, show you what it's all about, show you the performance and some of the gameplay. This is the main menu when you first boot the game. We've got this Outfitters store. You can go on and buy some new items. Solo game and online co-op as well, which is pretty cool. These are the the suits that you can get, or all the different things actually. We've got suits, visors, color palettes, hats, masks, different emotes, and then you can save it all as a set outfit. Quite a lot of choices here of things you can unlock. These suits are unlocked by creating or achieving achievements in game, essentially. So by completing achievements, you can unlock these different types of suits and visors and so on. So a little bit there to play around with. We then got the Astropedia, which is basically the help section. There is a short tutorial when you first start the game, but you've got all the help you need here. You can bring this up at any time, and then some tutorials about how to do some of the things in the game, and then finally we've got general options. So let's start a new game. I've got a game in progress. There's an adventure game where it's kind of story driven, and a creative game where you basically get dumped on a planet and can do whatever you want. If you've not heard of this game before, this is a survival game set in space. So you land on this alien planet and you have to basically mine for resources and craft items, and eventually the kind of end goal on each planet is to build a rocket to get you to the next world. I think there's 8 worlds in total that you can work through, but as I say, there is a creative mode that you can just play around in. So here we are, we've landed on the planet. You can see there, very quick loading times. We unpack our home base. And then there's some tutorials that pop up. First impressions of this game was pretty excellent, to be honest. The graphics look great. It's got kind of this flat polygon style. Character moves around really nicely. The camera's really smooth, really good frame rate. So first impressions were really good, and that's held up so far. I've played about 5 or 6 hours of this one so far on my other save. So the main game is driven by missions. These sort of drive you on to unlock new things. All the missions are accessible here in this kind of hub next to your landing pod. I keep moving away from this pod. If you can see the blue line that connects me to the pod, that is my airline. If I move too far away, the airline breaks, and this is essentially the only kind of hazard in the game. There aren't really any enemies, no combat as such, but basically you've got a bar on your backpack there, the blue bar at the top, and that is your oxygen level. And if you disconnect from your oxygen line, that will start to go down. And if it runs out, you have a few more seconds of grace, but basically if you don't connect almost immediately to an air supply, you will die and lose everything that you're carrying. You can bring the backpack up with a press of the B button, and we'll look at this in a bit more detail, but basically you can see here obviously a closer view of that blue bar at the top, and you've got a cursor here that you can use to select different things. These little squares are slots in your backpack that you can store stuff. You can also store stuff in these 2 auxiliary points, and then you've also got a slot here for your, I'm going to call it a weapon, but it's basically your crafting gun, and again we'll show you that very shortly. This yellow bar in the middle is your power. When you craft items, it takes 3 blocks of power to craft an item. You can replenish that by going back here to the home base. On the minus button, we've got a well, I guess this is kind of called the material store, but this is where you can basically unlock new objects to craft. it's got kind of a weird interface. It's kind of only the middle bar of that is being used for selection, then sort of up and down scrolls the different categories into the middle. It takes a little while to get used to. Couldn't really figure it out at first, but we got there in the end. So that's on the minus button, and on the plus button we've got this main menu again, which you can bring up at any time and do anything that we looked at the start, including quitting the game. So let's have a look at our first mission. Go to the mission log, and our first mission here is Planetfall, which we did. We launched and landed on the planet, so we collect the reward. So you can see the bottom right hand corner, there's a green block, and that means there's a reward ready to be collected. So we press A on that to open the flap, and then A again to collect the reward. The reward there is tethers, and you'll see how they're used very shortly. And we've got these other active missions now. We've got Astroneer Basics, so 3 tasks to complete there. We've got to unpack the oxygenator, install the oxygenator into the shelter, and then connect the printer power to the shelter. And it tells you the rewards on the left hand side there. So we get tethers and some bonus bytes. Bytes are like the currency in the game. It's kind of a bigger overarching mission here. Lights in the distance, locate one of the strange structures emitting a pillar of light. Also, you can make any of those active as well. So we'll do the Astroneer Basic, and that'll be our tracked mission. Controls. So left stick to move around. The Y button brings up your crafting gun. We won't use that yet. B button, as we said earlier, brings up your backpack, and A to jump. You left click in the stick to run. So you can, it takes quite a while for your oxygen to run out, but as I say, you don't want to run too far away from the base without being re-tethered. And if you listen, you can hear the oxygen refill. And then clicking on the right stick zooms you in and out on the camera. So our first mission is to unpack these items. We've got the oxygenator. So hold down the X button, and that gets unpacked. I'm just going to pick that up with ZR and install it into the base. A little bit finicky again, the controls here. Basically, when you pick something up with the with the ZR button, you're then using the right stick to move it around. Again, takes a little while to get used to. And then got this printer that we've installed there. So we've completed the basics. I just said something there about plugging in a cable base, but let's have a look, see if we completed the mission. So we've unpacked the oxygenator, installed it, and connected the printer power to the shelter. We got rewards ready to collect. So we get 500 bytes. And our tethers, which we didn't get for Planetfall. What did we get for Planetfall? We got the oxygenator and the small printer. And then for completing the Astroneer Basics, we got the tethers. I'll show you how they work in 1 second. We're just going to make breathing space our active task. And this one is to connect a tether to an oxygenator. It says tethers are placed to extend oxygen access from an oxygenator, can be printed from the backpack. And the rewards for doing this is to receive a small canister and another 500 bytes. The bytes are displayed on this minus button here, so you can see the top corner we've got 500 bytes, and you can see the bottom right hand corner of the screen there, of the little screen that pops up, how much each of these items cost to unlock. And then once they're unlocked, they can be printed from your backpack. So at the bottom of your backpack there, you've got the little small printer, it's called, and you can basically 3D print any of these things. Just realised I'm suffocating, I've got no oxygen, so quickly tether back up, and it's perfectly a good time to show you how tethers work. So here are the tethers. So we're going to grab one of the tethers, screwing this up a little bit, I need to pick these up and install them in my backpack somewhere. Let's stick them on this kind of extendable arm out here. So what we can do now is anything that's in that slot, we can press down on the D-pad and it will plant a tether. So there you can see. I'm going to pick this one up because it was in the wrong place. And we'll dump this one down here. And then you can see we're kind of making a little cable line, and you can see we're connected to that. So we're still getting oxygen and power supplied to our backpack, but we can start to venture out from the hub. So we're not going to suffocate. Now these are limited, the tethers, and when they run out we will need to print some more. I don't think it tells you how many you got left, but they are limited. And you can see if we go a little bit too far, if we put a tether down there, it wouldn't really work. It has to be within tethering range of the last tether. And there we go, we can stretch back out. So as we stretch out towards the landscape to explore, we've come across our first thing here. We've got a research sample and we can scan that. Keep getting untethered. We can scan that by holding down X. And by scanning it, we just got 16 bytes. And 22 bytes for scanning another part of that. So by sort of cataloguing these things, you can start to earn bytes, which again are used to unlock items. So as we're exploring, we're just putting some more tethers down. Gonna have a little wander. There's these like weird caves here that you can kind of go right in and explore, but again probably not worth getting too invested in that until you've got some of the tethers or some other way of supplying oxygen. So something interesting over there on the landscape, and something very interesting over there. So this seems to be a good time to end episode 1 on a tantalizing cliffhanger, and we will rejoin this in part 2 of this video. Go and explore what these things are on the horizon. See, there's something like a fan spinning. We've got some interesting looking things over here. So we're basically going to show you how the mining works. But we will save that for episode 2, keeping these episodes short and sweet. Thanks for watching. Please check out episode 2 and subscribe if you're new. Like if you like the video, please. And drop me a comment if you've got any comments about this game or any questions. But until then, I shall see you all in episode 2. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.